went inside of a cave, and it wasn't even a cave. It was like an underground compartment. It wasn't even that deep underground, maybe 7 feet, 5 to 7 feet in the pyramid complex. And I've only gone there once. And whatever was there before, the smell is still there. So whoever was there before, they designed the interior with a shiny, I think it was either limestone or some sort of like shiny crystal. The wall is covered with crystal, and the smell of the lotus flower is still there. It's been thousands of years. It still smells like lotus flowers. There are no lotus flowers down there. There's no plants growing down there. It's a stone. That's what I'm saying. So whatever these people were doing back then, whatever way of living they had, was vastly different. Then we talk about the tombs that I mentioned earlier, that are 400 or 500 feet deep into mountainous rock. They dug
how they carve all that rock.
Exactly. And when you look at the halls that lead into the burial chambers, they're perfectly carved. Like, it's not like, oh, I gotta squeeze through here.
We don't have the technology to do that. We can't do that
exactly
today.
They just now discovered that when they started building those underground bunkers and stuff like that. And even them, they can only build a certain amount at a certain time. Like, maybe they could do, this thing can cut through rock for this amount of time, and then they got to stop. These people were doing this stuff thousands of years ago. So what did they have? Think about what they had to have to carve those stones to set the pyramids in place. And I don't think people understand. If you haven't been to the pyramids, you won't understand just how large and heavy these stones are. To not only cut these stones, set them into place, and then to carve out the inside. So we look at the outside, carve out the inside.
Some of the pyramids?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is what I mean about, we talked about earlier about not being dismissive, right? As much as I disagree with old Billy Carson, William Terrence Carlson, I still learn from dude, right? I listen. I'm not dismissive. I'm not just saying, oh, he's everything. No, because some of the stuff he's saying is deep. Now, I've been to the pyramid. I got pictures, video. All right. I don't know. Okay, I just happened. I ain't did it since then. I was a tourist. I kind of did, but I didn't. I wasn't sure. But anyway, I climbed on the pyramid.
I think we all did at some point.
Copy that. I go. Proceed with caution. 10-4.
And I'm not saying it is true, but I will say that these people here and like, bro, people back in ancient times had some stuff that we don't have today.
That's something we often make the mistake of thinking that the further back we go, the dumber people were. And that's based on evolution. See, their evolution says that we're evolving into something better. So by default, we would have to be smarter, more intelligent, and more advanced than our predecessors, the people before us. Yet, we're dying at an alarming rate. You got almost more old people than you got younger people. All the technology that we produce does not work with our environment. It destroys the environment. Opposed to, clearly, the people back then were able to use technology that did not destroy the environment around them. It worked with the environment. Right. They understood how not to use up the land until it can't produce, until it can't produce anymore. Like the scriptures talk about, the seventh year of rest. You need to let the land rest. No, we consume. It made me think about that movie, The Matrix, how Agent Smith was trying to compare humans. He said the only thing that we can find that humans are comparable to is a virus. You just go from one thing to the next and consume everything. You need a host. And that's not natural. In nature, everything is symbiotic and it all works together. Right. But then, we've now evolved into a all-consuming virus on the earth. And that's just that goes against nature. So
it's sad, man. I think when you strip human beings of the innate abilities that we should have, just being born and going out into nature, learning how to hunt, learning how to garden, learning how to dwell with one another, seeing life in various aspects, not just human life, because we don't see. That's why people are so fascinated with what's that channel with all the animals on it?
Animal
What's
Planet.
Yeah, Animal Planet and all these other things, because people don't see those things for themselves anymore. So we're like, oh man, I wonder what it looks like when a giraffe gives birth. Or I wonder what it's like when a lion is hunting, because we don't see those things. We're out of tune and out of touch with reality and nature. So um now today we're getting to the point we don't even read anymore. I mean, we don't read. Not to say that people always had access to literature, because people didn't, but we're getting to the point we're not even thinking anymore. We're not getting out in the sun. We're not gardening. We're not doing any of the things we used to do. We're not even eating real food anymore, man. Like a lot of the stuff that people eat comes from a factory. You got people that hate vegetables, hate water, hate fruit. I mean, many of us go our parts of our lives only drinking soda and juice. You know what I'm saying? So we're vastly out of touch with reality. So when we talk about back then, and this goes back to me having worked in tourism for a while, the things I get to see, one of the things that blows me away to this day is the fact that, for example, if I paint a house in America, that paint is going to wear away probably start wearing away 20, 30, maybe years. I've seen paint on statues in Egypt that have been exposed to sunlight, water, uh, other elements that are still potent on this particular statue to this day. And it's been standing for thousands of years. So I'm trying to understand, like, even something as small as paint, what were these people using? You know what I'm saying? What were these
Natural
people using?
dyes.
Things that could
Not,
last that long.
right.
Then we talk about I went inside of a cave, and it wasn't even a cave. It was like an underground compartment. It wasn't even that deep underground, maybe 7 feet, 5 to 7 feet in the pyramid complex. And I've only gone there once. And whatever was there before, the smell is still there. So whoever was there before, they designed the interior with a shiny, I think it was either limestone or some sort of like shiny crystal. The wall is covered with crystal, and the smell of the lotus flower is still there. It's been thousands of years. It still smells like lotus flowers. There are no lotus flowers down there. There's no plants growing down there.
But it still
It's
smells.
a stone. That's what I'm saying. So whatever these people were doing back then, whatever way of living they had, was vastly different. Then we talk about the tombs that I mentioned earlier, that are 400 or 500 feet deep into mountainous rock. They dug
How they carve all that rock.
exactly. And when you look at the halls that lead into the burial chambers, they're perfectly carved. Like, it's not like, oh, I gotta squeeze through
And we
here
don't
to my
have the
body.
technology to do that. We can't do that today.
Exactly. They just now discovered that when they started building those underground bunkers and stuff like that. And even them, they can only build a certain amount at a certain time. Like, maybe they could do this thing can cut through rock for this amount of time, and then they got to stop. These people were doing this stuff thousands of years ago. So what did they have? Think about what they had to have to carve those stones to set the pyramids in place. And I don't think people understand. If you haven't been to the pyramids, you won't understand just how large and heavy these stones are. To not only cut these stones, set them into place, and then to carve out the inside. Cause we look at the outside, carve out the inside.
Talking about the pyramids?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna tell you something. This is what I mean about we talked about earlier about not being dismissive, right? As much as I disagree with old Billy Carson, William Terrence Carlson, I still learn from dude, right? I listen. I'm not dismissive. I'm not just saying, oh, he's everything. No, because some of the stuff he's saying is deep. Now, I've been to the pyramid. I got pictures, video. All right. I don't know. Okay, I just happened. I ain't did it since then. I was a tourist. I kind of did, but I didn't. I wasn't sure. But anyway, I climbed on the pyramids. You know what I'm saying?
I think we all did at some point.
Wasn't supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That security dude started running over there with that AK-47. Hey, get down. Hey, I'm a dumb American. I didn't know I can't climb on the pyramids.
Yeah.
Get off that pyramids, man. You ain't supposed to be up there. I didn't climb halfway up the pyramid.
Yeah.
But something Billy Carson said that I didn't even pay attention to, I didn't even notice,
Right.
is that, you know, those stones are huge,
Yeah.
right? But they're all different sizes,
Right.
which means they each one was cut precisely to a certain size to fit to a certain piece. It's so intricate because they're not all
Right.
cut the same size. Each
And
stone is
same
different.
weight either.
Yeah, all of them are different. I don't know about every last single one of them, but many
Yeah.
of them are different. I don't know, maybe all, maybe
I would
not.
say the regions, like outer, inner stuff, because they
Yeah, but I'm
found.
just saying, the stone, but they're not the same size around the
Right.
pyramid. It's like, it's not all like they cut. It's not even like each layer is the same size.
Right.
They're different size stones all around the pyramid. It's
Right.
very interesting. So that's something I learned from old buddy.
Yeah.
But
And
the technology to do that, man, the wisdom to do that.
to not just cut them, but to get them where they need to be, place them on top of
Precisely.
each other, and stand the test of time, and not cave in on each other. Whatever is on the inside is supporting what's on the outside. So think about the amount of force that's, you know, pushing down on these particular chambers that's there, and how it's been standing there for that long. So when we talk about technology, man, I just think, you know, something, you know, got to look into, but not to draw that the hour. We supposed to end the joint like probably 15, 20 minutes ago.
It happened every time. It happened every time, especially me. I said, all right, man, I'm about to go, and then I got another 2 hours of conversation before I walk out the door. So, but yeah, man, you know, this conversation was interesting. Like I said, we sat on here about an hour trying to figure out what we was gonna talk about, and then we said we were gonna talk about one thing, and then, you know, it went a whole nother direction as soon as we started, man. But praise the Most High, man. I hope that this is edifying for listeners, and I hope people, brothers and sisters, can get something from this. You know, I'm not one to preach to the choir. I don't really like talking to people who have, you know, the same knowledge I have. Right. You know, I think the choir needs to hear the gospel too. Or they need to hear the preacher sometimes too. But, you know, I really want to excel in soul winning and bringing truth and understanding to those who don't have it, opposed to just talking to people who, you know, believe what I believe and on the, you know, already on the same road. Like, you know, at this point, because it's not that we can't have this conversation, we can't edify and build each other up, but at the same time, we're supposed to be going to the lost. Right. You know, you know, Christ said he didn't come to heal the well, he came to heal the sick. Right. The physician is not sent to somebody who's not sick. They sent to the sick people. So we're supposed to be going out to those who are blind, who are deaf, who are dumb, who don't know, and try to, you know, bring them into the fold. And so I'm always trying to find things that are going to help bring light to those people. However, in this situation, I think we were able to do both in this conversation. So I'm excited about it. Yeah. I really hope that, you know, brothers and sisters benefit from it. And, you know,
interesting
the one thing is, you know, not being so dismissive about things, because as much, like I said, much as I disagree with Billy Carson, so much stuff that Terrence Howard said that was just like, oh man, he was so close, but he's so far. Like he almost had it and he just went off the cliff with that. However, you know, I'm not going to be dismissive of the information that's being brought forth, right? I'm going to go look at research, because a lot of stuff, what's cool, what I really like about dealing with William Carlson is, you know, he giving me something to go research and study, you know, because he run off about all these different ancient texts and all this stuff, and I'm knowing, okay, what he's doing.
Some of them we've just studied, looked into them before and things.
He's taking these different ancient texts and he's combining them all and creating his own story from it. And who's gonna go and read all this stuff just to disprove what he's saying? Right. 99.9% of people ain't gonna do it. Unfortunately, I don't know how I'm one of them people. I'm gonna go. Right. Yeah. I'm gonna look this stuff up. I'm gonna read this stuff, and I mean, already immediately you start finding out, you know, that this stuff is not saying what he's saying.
You know what? He said something about Noah's Ark, and I left it alone. But we probably gonna have to start doing some sort of reactionary stuff to his stuff, because he was talking about, oh, it wasn't a literal boat. Was it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got to go back because we did that on the other show. We went into the other show. We got to go back and go back into that. But yeah,
he spoke on that whole story and said, "Nah, that's not a real story." And this would have been. I'm like,
yeah,
come on, dude.
We got something to say different.
Yeah,
you know, like I told that brother in that chat, man. He talking about what kind of system does the Bible have to make sure that it's not the information is correct or something. I don't know what he said, but it was he trying to be slick. I said, yeah, we got the system of discovery. And he wasn't expecting that. I said, yeah, we got that. Well, can you explain that? Yeah, I can explain it.
Yeah.
The system of discovery. Like, for example, the Roman Catholic Church tried to monopolize the Bible when they had it and they translated to Latin, a language that nobody was able to speak. And so then everybody had to go to them, to the Roman Catholic Church, in order to hear the word of God. And they could make it say whatever they wanted to say and monopolize it. And guess what happened? Somebody discovered the system of discovery. Somebody discovered another manuscript, man named William Tyndale. William Tyndale discovered a manuscript, and guess what he was able to do? He was able to use the printing press to mass produce the Bible. And guess what happened? The Roman Catholics could no longer monopolize the Bible.
Yeah.
And then a couple 100 years later, a little old guy named King James said, you know what? We got some manuscripts too. It's a bunch of they found a whole bunch of more manuscripts. We're gonna translate the Bible into English and give it to everybody. So you know what I'm saying? So this system of discovery, boy, has proven the Bible 1,000 times over. So you talking about the Noah's Ark wasn't a literal boat and that was figurative language? Well, we got some discoveries that we're gonna share with y'all.
Yeah,
like that's gonna change that whole. That's gonna just really put things in a truer light. You know, we got to get the right light energy, warmth, or whatever form you want to do. We got to get that and put that on this situation so we can see the truth of the matter.
Yeah, because he took that and said, I think he even said the Sumerian text, one of those texts, or the Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh.
He mixed them all up.
And said that this is where the story came from. No. It's not where it came from.
No.
But it is another source that confirms that this particular event happens. And that's the problem with people taking information and not looking at it and saying, well, oh, this one stole from this. Not to say that, instead of saying, okay, these confirm each other. These are three witnesses.
It's the intent of the person, right? So it's always the information is there, but then how the information is being interpreted is always an issue, right? Kent Hovind gave a good example. He said, two people walking through the forest, right? One person, and then they walk in and they see this intricate painting hanging on a tree. One person says, "Wow, somebody look at there's a painter somewhere around here that painted this picture." And let me look for the paint droppings in a trail or something, footprints, something, see if I can find who this painter is that painted this amazing picture. And the other person looks at that same picture and says, "Wow, look at what these trees and these leaves and all this nature created."
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They look at the same evidence and just draw two totally different conclusions.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a situation like that. And it's interesting, man. We gotta be on some kind of wavelength because I didn't say nothing because I didn't want to cut you off and I didn't want to keep it going. But when you mentioned Noah's Ark, but when you were talking about the technologies that people had back then, right? I think about the unsinkable ship, the Titanic.
Yeah.
Oh, even God couldn't sink this ship. That's what they said.
Yeah.
And the first time they took it out there, it went under, right? And they got ships today 5 times bigger than Noah's Ark. But guess what?